Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about Donald Trump bombing Venezuela. He bombed a facility there. And, some people look at that as an act of war. Now, I know Congress is working behind the scenes to take all of the powers Donald Trump has and all these bombings of boats and everything away from him. So we shall see. It might actually be a power shift in what's going on. And and I'm going to be doing another live in a few hours. Donald Trump froze money going to Minnesota. So all of that child care money they were getting, those Somalians were getting, he just froze all of those assets. So there are no more checks coming for them. So we'll talk about that a little later. Hopefully within the next 2, 3 hours, I'll have that all set up so we can get into that as well. So, y'all, I know a lot of us don't want to see any wars because we have family and people that are in the military. And unfortunately, because of the job market, a lot of times our people would use that as an alternative, especially if they were unemployed for a long time. They'll just join the military to get a flow of money coming in. But that doesn't mean I want to see our young people, especially our people. We've been mistreated for too long, and now we're going to battle and possibly lose your life for a country that never loved or cared about us. No. Mm-mm. I mean, to this day, unemployment is the highest among our people, because we know during economic hardships and hard times in this country, they keep each other working and make sure, we're on the sidelines struggling to get employment. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. And, of course, the media will talk about everything except for things like this. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Oh, bougie Barbie. Hopefully you won't. I hope you don't have to work all day. A lot of times, especially New Year's Eve, a lot of companies will let you go early. I don't know if they will where you are, but I hope they do. I hope you can get out of there and chill out for the rest of the day. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Can you say more about the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in radio? Did the military do that? Can you share with us? Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
He said he did it because they were hiding drugs at a dock that he was never able to inspect because that's not his land. But let's take a look at what he had to say about this.
Major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement. And that is no longer.
So this is the exact same routine Russia used with Ukraine when they started attacking Ukraine. First, they were attacking boats, ships, and they eventually moved to land. Now, not only is Trump doing this brazenly live on TV as he is breaking military law, he also got no congressional approval to be attacking another nation, but he's convinced himself that this is legal because he said that Venezuela is a national security threat, which has not been fully determined because they are not at all. They're just the largest suppliers of earth in this world. Ironically enough, the largest supplier of oil in Africa is Nigeria, who he also bombed. And he's also wanted to invade Greenland, who is one of the largest suppliers of unused minerals. Don't forget that his only conditions for wanting to end the Ukraine war with Russia is if Ukraine gave up $500 billion worth of their minerals. I mean, it's quite obvious where this direction is going, and we're going to quickly head into World War III because many nations are not pleased by this. And it is quite obvious that we're soon going to head into World War III if we stay under Donald Trump's rule for any much longer. This is the same guy that was saying Kamala's going to lead us to World War III, Biden's going to lead us to World War III. But as we know with Trump, every accusation from him is a confession. And as we are watching real time, he is going to lead us in World War III. I don't think anybody's been more afraid of going into World War III. The richest president in the history of presidents in one of the richest nations alive wants to attack other poorer nations for their oil to get even richer. The only cost? American lives, that nation's lives, and unnecessary stress levels and dysregulated nervous systems of everybody on both sides. I want to remind you that Trump is the same guy that said he's at the bottom totem pole of hell and he has no chance of getting into heaven, and he knows he's going to hell. Let's go to that clip. And here's that clip.
But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
Trump has ended absolutely.
Trump is your typical Gentile. He think if he saves other Gentiles, he can get into heaven. Now, how idiotic is that? So you don't have to do nothing for the chosen people. All you got to do is save 7,000 Gentiles a week, and that's your way into heaven. That right there just tells you Donald Trump is so disconnected spiritually. It's not even funny. This man has zero connection with the Most High, like many of these Gentiles. Let's go on.
Zero wars at all. He just takes credit after the two nations work it out, and then the leaders of those nations say, what the hell are you talking about? You had nothing to do with any of this. This is the same president that within the first year becoming president, he has bombed 3 different nations, Venezuela, Nigeria, and Iran, where in every single situation, he was the aggressor. And it's also ironic how we said he's going to the bottom of hell on the day he met with Putin. So it's also ironic how worst order Trump has been having FIFA give him fake peace prizes, and apparently Israel is giving him a prize for seemingly nothing, as Trump claims he knows nothing about it, because he always claims he knows nothing about everything he knows everything about. And going back to Venezuela, he also admitted today to bombing facilities and plants in Venezuela. So Trump is already attacking them and not letting us know until after he did it. The same way he does everything he does. And here is him admitting to yet another war crime that for some reason he still has not been arrested for.
And we just talked out, I don't know if you read or you saw, they have a big plant or a big facility where they send where the ships come from. 2 nights ago, we knocked that out. So we hit them very hard.
So not only is Trump attacking Venezuelan boats, stealing their oil tankers, claiming their oil is now ours, he's also attacking the facilities where the boats go in and come from, and he's attacking their land and docks. The outcome of this is going to be inevitable, with Venezuela attacking the United States back. And the next thing you know, we're in war with the country where Trump is the aggressor, but you know he's going to try to pin it on Maduro. And once again, how is it supposed to be about drugs when Trump is pardoning the creator of Silk Road, which internationally sold drugs online through the dark web for pay from Bitcoin? Then it was also released that he was accepting $1 million bribes to pardon people. So rich people are basically immune to the law now. And he also pardoned an ex-Honduran president who trafficked over 400 tons of cocaine into America. So this has nothing to do with drugs, especially considering once again that the majority of fentanyl does not come from Venezuela. It actually comes from the Mexican border. But surprise, surprise, Mexico is not the largest holder of oil in the world. Now, it's also ironic that Trump is following Putin's playbook of propaganda as he stands next to another borderline corrupt official by public opinion. And it's also ironic how Trump is engaging in Putin activities while he stands here next to Netanyahu and defends Putin's actions. He even spreads Putin's propaganda that apparently Ukraine tried to...
Well. Last night, the New York Times reported that one of these boats had been blown up off the coast of Venezuela, finally washed up on the shore. And guess what they found inside? Not cocaine, not fentanyl, but marijuana, a substance that is actually illegal in 40 of 50 U.S. states. So we're committing war crimes, damaging our international relationships, and harming our security for what? Weed? Are you serious? Now take that incompetence and play it out across the entire world. Look at Nigeria. They just blew up a bunch of villages of innocent people because they're trying to protect Christians acting on the basis of religion. That's not how you do foreign policy. That's not how you do military operations. You say, regardless of their religion, is it in our national interest and is it legal? Well, this is Trump. Watch out.
A CIA drone strike was reportedly carried out on Venezuelan territory for the first time as President Donald Trump confirmed that the United States was responsible for a major explosion on a dock in Venezuela. The CIA targeted a dock from the Venezuelan gang Aragua, according to a CNN exclusive report. No one was hurt during the strike.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
And it's not just drug traffickers that are being targeted. The U.S. has seized several Venezuelan oil vessels during the last few weeks, ramping up pressure for Nicolas Maduro to leave power. U.S. Southern Command posted on X that it, quote, stands ready to provide specialized maritime capabilities in support of DHS and the Justice Department operations on the high seas, end quote. Trump has repeatedly said that Maduro's days are numbered. Only time will tell if that's the case.
President Donald Trump announced the U.S. blew up a storage facility following repeated threats against Venezuela over drug trafficking. Here's what we know so far. Now, we don't have many details, including exactly where the strike occurred, but Trump announced the strike on Monday, and here's how he described it.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Trump has been ratcheting up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who faces narco-terrorism charges in the U.S. So what's new about this latest action? Trump said the target was on the shore. If confirmed it happened in Venezuela, it could mark the first time the Trump administration has struck the mainland. Now, CNN, the New York Times, and others have reported that that explosion, which happened earlier this month, was a drone attack on a storage site. Officials said it belonged to the criminal organization known as Tren de Aragua, and they believed it was being used to store and ship narcotics. No fatalities were reported, and the government of Venezuela has not confirmed the attack. The revelation came as the U.S. confirmed another deadly military strike on an alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, bringing the total to 30 such strikes this year. Trump has claimed the attacks, which have killed at least 107 people, are necessary to stem the flow of drugs into the U.S. and to fight narco-terrorism. But experts have questioned the legal basis for these strikes. The Trump administration also seized oil tankers in recent weeks, in possible violation of international maritime law.
Hey, just a minute before you move on. I want to say thank you for watching and for supporting us. It's you, all of our
area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around. I don't want to comment.
Did you hear the news? Another Trump admin lie has been exposed. All of those boats that they've been exploding in Venezuelan waters, they're not drug boats, just like we've been saying. Apparently, what's happening is after we are sending these bombs, we're just leaving the fucking wreckage out in the ocean, which that's one thing we can talk about. But some of this wreckage has gone ashore and they tested it for drugs. And what did they find? No cocaine, no heroin, no fentanyl. They found trace amounts of marijuana. Okay. So we've bombed 30 boats. We have murdered 107 people that we know of. And every time I make a video on this, MAGA are in the comments saying, oh, you just want everybody to die of fentanyl. No, motherfucker. Nobody wants that. What we want is reality to be told. What we want is President Trump to actually do something to stop fentanyl, as opposed to trying to start a fucking war with Venezuela so that he can get their oil. Okay? That's what we're going after, right?
Yeah, Actually, I kind of agree with her. So what you really bombed were some boats where some people smoked some weed and went fishing. That's really what you did. They smoked a little weed and went out there and went fishing, and Donald Trump think he is bombing these people and saving America from fentanyl. It is a lie, y'all. It is a lie. And you know, I can see if you go with this scenario and you got proof. See, we found this on the boat, and see, we found that. They're not finding anything on these boats, y'all. They're not finding anything. Even when they test the boats, the wreckage, they're not finding nothing. So Donald Trump's whole argument just instantly falls apart. That's why Congress is trying to shift all of this power to do all this stuff to Venezuela out of the hands of Donald Trump. And from what I was reading, they said they're days away from shifting this power away from him because he has not gone to Congress. Congress is the only one that got the power to declare war. And Donald Trump has taken it upon himself to do all of this without the consent of Congress. There, he has not showed one shred of proof of anything that got bombed, got all this fentanyl and everything on there. There is no proof, y'all. And I don't believe, I never believed his story from day one. Never. Shirley Salone, thank you for the super sticker and support from my channel. All right, y'all, let's go on.
Right? Okay. Good talk.
Oh my God. The president of Colombia has announced that Trump just bombed a factory in Maracaibo, Venezuela. He says that it turns out that the speedboats that were attacked with missiles were not carrying cocaine, but were carrying cannabis. And he says it's legal in many places, and the Congress of Colombia should not have allowed its illegality. It was lost by one vote. That vote has taken the lives of many humble boatmen. But he says, we know Trump bombed a factory in Maracaibo. We fear they mix cocoa paste there to make it cocaine and take advantage of Maracaibo's location by the sea. It's simply the ELN. The ELN is allowing, with its trafficking and its mental dogma, the invasion of Venezuela. Today, with the expansion of cocoa leaf cultivation in Latin America facing a demand that only grows too much in Europe, he seems scared because Trump is putting a target on his back as well. He says the New York Times has even published an article saying they haven't any proof against me to keep me on the OFAC list.
Mira, la otra vez, miércoles. Chacho, ojalá que no haya nadie allá donde un herido, algo así. Algún virante dormido. ¿Verdad? Oye, tú has quitado asomándose por allá. Ah, bueno.
Frente a la casa, pero tuvimos que venir para acá. Este fuego se veía en el frente de la casa y nos acercamos porque sabíamos que era súper cerca. Al finalizar la 3, la parte de atrás de NASA, yo no sé si me estoy equivocando, pero creo que es, no recuerdo, pero creo que era como San Simón, algo así que daba ahí atrás. Recuerdo que una amiga trabajaba ahí. Estamos cerca del gaitero, NASA. Oh, esto, Dios mío. No ve que estoy grabando. ¿Cómo voy a decir que se ve bello?
Porque se ve bello. O sea, mira cómo se ve la explosión, se ve bello, man.
Dios mío. Cerquitica de NASA. Si no logran apagar esa verga rápido. Malparición. Para ustedes reportando, Diego informa y Gerardo Decora presente en el lugar de los hechos. Fondo de NASA. Oh, por Dios.
Primera vez en mi vida que yo una
Primera vez, no podemos ver bien, o sea, el teléfono, perdón, no graba bien esa...
Marico, el teléfono mío era el de cantar y vas a ver. Mira, baja
la resolución.
Well, y'all, look, the bottom line is I think that, that's why a lot of countries are saying they believe Donald Trump is committing crimes against humanity. But, y'all know you ain't gonna do nothing to Donald Trump. And if you do, it'll be after he's gone. You don't have the courage to do anything to him now, you know? But yeah, I just I don't care about Donald Trump. I don't care about Congress. I just don't want our young people getting caught up in this mess because they don't think anything about sacrificing our young people for this country. That's my concern, because I still got people in my family, and I know many of you in the military. And we don't need this. We don't need this. This was not a necessary thing for Donald Trump to do. I think at the end of the day, this was anything to distract away from the Epstein files. And another thing that I may talk about a little later, Marjorie Taylor Greene is about to come forward with the names of the people that were involved in the Epstein files. And Donald Trump is begging her not to do it. But apparently, she got a list of names of people just like Donald Trump with money, and they were committing all kinds of crimes and exploiting underage girls. So he doesn't want that out there because he talking about it will hurt too many people. Donald Trump, it will expose people like you. That's what you're in fear of. So whether she does it or not, I hope she does. I hope she does. So maybe we'll talk about that a little later as well. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And we'll come back together. Just give me a couple of hours to get things together and be on the lookout for the next live stream. Shalom, family.